I'm Tiffany Red, and this is 100 Mag TV.
On September 29th in Las Vegas, Duane Keith Davis, aka Keefe D, was arrested for his connection to the Tupac murder in 1996. The indictment says Davis, also known as Keefe D, and 3 other gang members with him that night conspired to kill Shakur by acting in concert throughout. In a press conference, they called Keefe D the shot caller. They claim that he is the one who orchestrated the whole thing. He will be arraigned on October 19th. One of the many reasons why Keefe D was arrested for his involvement in Shakur's murder is because of his own admissions in his 2019 memoir, in documentary, in Vlad TV interviews. He's talked about it a lot. He's also talked about it with the police in 2009. I want to share an interview that Keefe D did with Vlad TV. Check this out.
The crimes that they were charging you with would have given you life in prison.
He was about to get charged with this P.C.P. and drug ring and cocaine ring. Had you guys gone forward with those charges and he got convicted in a court for those charges, how long would he have gotten in prison?
Life.
Life. So he was fighting a life sentence essentially.
That's correct.
Is that true?
No. When Dirt Rock, he brought a bird and he bought some P.C.P. from me. I would have pleaded guilty in the first court appearance. That would have got me like 10 to 20 years.
Okay.
But the other dudes that stood up and said, man, we got you on several murders. You're not every motherfucker. It's over. Bitch. You know our conviction rate is 98%.
The feds.
Yeah. So they showed me, the first day they pulled down a thing and showed me a little bit. So it was right before the holidays. They said, enjoy your holidays. Come back here on the 9th of January and let us know your decision, what you want to do. But they was talking about, we want you to do the, what's that dude name? That Denzel played? Frank Lucas. We want you to do the Frank Lucas. So that morning, on the 9th, I said, motherfucker, let me tell you something. I'm not gonna sell out none of my peers or none of that shit. I'm gonna tell you what the fuck I did, and I know what you want. Like, yeah, you're right. They had already had all the evidence, dude. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said the motherfucking thing. They already knew everything.
Okay.
Because while I was in jail in 98, 99, they kept coming up there. They were showing me that they had me.
So I purchased his book. It's called Compton Street Legend, Notorious Keefe D's street level accounts of Tupac and Biggie murders, death row origins, Suge Knight, Puffy Combs, and crooked cops. So this book came out in 2019. And I don't know about you, but I didn't hear about this. I'm shocked that this wasn't a bigger thing, or maybe it was just massive and I just missed it. I don't know how I missed it, but in this book, he alleges a lot. And a name that continues to come up in this story is Puff. And right now, everything is alleged. There has been no indictments or any arrests made or anything like that as far as Puff is concerned. But his name is coming up a lot. So Keefe D alleges that Puff came to him and said that he needed to take care of Suge and Pac. Because obviously they were having problems. So he alleges that Suge and Puff had beef because of the murder of Suge's friend in Atlanta allegedly by Puff's bodyguard, Wolf. So they already had their drama. Keefe D talks about how Puff reached out to him through his friend Zip. That was their mutual friend. And he talks about how, you know, he was worried about touring on the West Coast. He said that there was the BET tour coming up and that he wanted to do the tour, but, it sounded like he wasn't sure if he was going to be safe. So Keefe D offered to have 40 to 50. He said, give me 40 to 50 tickets and I'll make sure that I bring some folks with me. So he had 40 to 50 Crips at all the Bad Boy shows on the West Coast around that time. And that was part of how Puff was protecting himself. Like I said, all of the things right now are allegations. Nothing has been proven, but something that I thought was really interesting was I read something on CNN earlier, and they said one of the reasons behind the July 2023 search of Davis's house was to determine whether he had received any payments or remuneration connected to his claims of participation in Shakur's death. So it sounds like the police are looking for the proof that can confirm what it is that he's alleging. A retired Las Vegas detective testified in front of the grand jury and spoke about the connection between the Tupac and the Biggie murder. So it sounds like they're trying to solve both of these things at the same time because they believe that they're connected. And I mean, to be fair, I think all of us do. You know, the East Coast, West Coast beef and how that all played out and just how much it's been almost like, I wouldn't say glamorized, but I mean, there's so many films about it, documentaries, it's on, you know, it's just so much. And it has been two of the biggest unsolved mysteries in hip hop. And so I think that it's a really big deal that they've made an arrest of Keefe D. And just some of the things that he's alleging are really troubling, honestly. He talks about reaching out to Puff and Faith allegedly after Tupac was killed and saying, or Tupac was shot and saying that, you know, they did what they did. And as I'm like, really? I don't know. We don't know what's true. All of it is alleged. This is what he's saying. We don't know it to be true. It needs to be proven. But nonetheless, crazy stories. Keefe D and his nephew go to the fight. They go to the fight, goes to the Tyson fight. Keefe D talks about how he saw Suge and he saw Pac, but that he was there to have fun. He wasn't there for no drama. And so he went on about his, you know, his night. But when his nephew got jumped in the lobby of the MGM by their crew, by the Death Row crew, that changed everything. So he had this friend Zip who was the middleman between Puff and Keefe D. That was who connected them. And so he says Zip, that night, Zip gave him a Glock. He said Foxy Brown was in the car. If Foxy can't got out the car, Zip asked him to come in the car. He sits in the car, hands him a Glock, and he said, it's time to get the money. What money? Now, this is alleged. Zip is not here to be able to tell us or confirm that. So these are all Keefe D's stories. But nonetheless, not whether we know what's true and what's not true, it's just really alarming. This is from the chapter, The Main Event. He writes, when I asked him what happened, he said them death row niggas rushed me. He's talking about his nephew. One of them niggas from the Lakewood Mall was running with the boy that started that shit. A few East Coast Crips came over and asked if we wanted them to go with us. Nah, we're good. We'll handle our shit. But good looking out. We appreciated their offer. But this was a matter we were determined to handle ourselves. We couldn't let no record company, studio gangsters do us like that. They lost they fucking rapping ass mind. On top of that, Puffy had already talked to me about helping him out with the problem he was having with them niggas. That was a double whammy. Then you add on top of that, the fact that we helped Suge with the money to get his record business going. And that nigga gonna bite the hand that feeds him. Add insult to injury because Suge still didn't pay Boss Man his money back. Got too big for his britches and stopped taking Boss Man's calls. Strike 3, homie, you're out. So he talks about how they go to this club 662 where there's this after party after the fight. You know, him and all his homies, they waiting in the parking lot. And Pac and Suge, they never show, so they leave. I pulled out the Glock that Zip had given me and tossed it in the back seat. Bubble Up did the driving. Baby Lane and Freaky were riding in the back. After our pit stop at the liquor barn, we continued toward the carriage house. As we were driving, the two vehicles that were with us got caught at the traffic light, but we kept rolling. A few blocks down, we were sitting at the light, and who the fuck did we see? The Death Row Caravan hit the corner with Tupac hanging out the window of the black luxury BMW, waving to his fans. People on the street were screaming, "Tupac, Tupac, we love you, Tupac." In unison, all of our heads turned. There the motherfuckers go right there. If Pac had not been hanging out the window, we would have never seen them. Busted you. Bubble Up busted a U-turn and hit the gutter lane on their asses. As they sat in traffic, we slowly rolled past the long line of luxury cars they had in the caravan. Looking into each one, we pulled up to the front vehicle and found who we were seeking. Like two rams locking horns, Suge and I looked each other dead in the eye. Our eyes locked. The terrified expression of Suge's face read, "Damn, them niggas." No words exchanged. The time for talking had passed. The shit was about to go down. The next few seconds all happened so quickly. That shit was on. Tupac made an erratic move and began to move down and reach beneath his seat. It was the first and only time in my life that I could relate to police command, "Keep your hands where I could see them." Instead, Pac pulled out a strap, and that's when the fireworks started. One of my guys from the back seat grabbed the Glock and started busting back. The first shot skimmed Suge in his head. I thought the motherfucker was dead. I heard the stories that Suge supposedly used Tupac's body as a shield when the bullets started flying, but that's some bullshit. Suge was already wounded. He was the first one that got touched. As the rounds continued flying, I ducked down so that I wouldn't get hit. When the shooting stopped, we boned out, and a white Chrysler Suburban full of young ladies was following us. Their window quickly got shot out, so they stopped. The interesting thing to me was, with them, none of them did a damn thing and tried to come after us. There was a lot of shots let off in both directions. Don't know why the Vegas police didn't check Tupac's hand for powder burns to see if he was shooting, because the car we were in was shot the fuck up. So I did a deep dive on TikTok and I found this video about this song that Puff is on. It's a Black Rob song. The song is called Muscle Game. And in the song, like, Puff is like talking over a part of it, and he says, "Fuck with me, I'll drop $1 million on your head." Now I know it's music. I know everything isn't literal. But to read Keefe D say he was offered $1 million to kill Pac and Suge for Puff, and then to hear Puff say on a song, "I'll put $1 million on you. Fuck with me, I'll put $1 million on your head." It's just like, it could all be a coincidence. It could all be a coincidence. But nonetheless, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What's so interesting too is, like, if you go online and you see what people think, like the public, like not the industry, but the public believes that this is true. Like, I was thinking, like, when this whole thing had first happened, I went on Twitter and I saw Tupac, Suge, Puff, and I can't remember who the other person, Keefe D, was all trending on Twitter. And I was like, why is Puff trending on Twitter? So then I go look and see, and then it's just like all these people like, Puff this, Puff that, you going to jail, you this, you that. And I'm like, what in the hell is happening? Whether or not it's true or not, to see how many people believe that he could have the capability to do something like that is so alarming to me. Like, it's alarming. It's alarming that there are so many people in the public and in the industry that believe that could be true. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, damn, like, if y'all believe that this could be true, then I'm gonna keep my commentary to myself for now. But if y'all believe that shit could be true, it also says a lot about y'all. Because, you know, if it was true, think about like how many people like this has been a story that people have talked about forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, right? Since it happened. The hood been put the whole piece, all the puzzle pieces together. Who did what, when it happened, whatever. And to see like Keefe D go down when this is one of the people like that the streets have been talking about this whole time, it's just like, wow, like parts of it were true. There was enough for them to prove. I mean, obviously Keefe D was out here doing interviews, writing books and shit like that. You know, I don't know that there was anybody else that was blatantly saying it like that, on top of the fact that there's not a lot of people alive left from that situation. I saw that Suge Knight said that he's not going to participate in anything. He's not going to testify. But he's also saying that Keefe D's nephew, Orlando Anderson, who he calls Baby Lane in the book, wasn't the shooter. And Suge got shot in the head. He was one of the first people to get shot. So it's like there's all these conflicting stories, so we don't know what's true. And who knows that we'll ever know what's true. But one thing is for certain, you could tell that the Las Vegas police and the LAPD and the FBI are trying to put the puzzle pieces together to make the shit make sense. And there's a few consistent names. And that's alarming, is all I'm saying. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty. All of these things are alleged. Puff has not been arrested. There has not been any indictments for Puff. None of that. None of it has been proven. None of it has been proven. He has denied it. In a old Breakfast Club interview, Charlamagne asked him about it. He called it nonsense. It's a really wild story. Nothing's been proven, but it's a wild story. Tell me what y'all think about it in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe, help this channel grow. Send it to your friends. And like I said, comment down below. I'm curious, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is happening right now? What do you think that the Las Vegas police have? Because I think it's interesting that they were going into Keefe D's residence in Vegas to try to find evidence supporting him being paid for it. Like, I think that part is really interesting because of the fact that he said Puff was the person who allegedly paid him for it. Now, Keefe D is saying he didn't even get the money. He didn't get the money. It sounds like Zip got paid the money, allegedly got paid the money, and didn't give him his share. So I don't know. It's all hearsay for now, but tell me what you think. Thank you for joining another episode of 100 Mag TV. I will see you next week. Later.